Okay? Just talk to God. Lose the facade. This transparency thing is when we stop reminding God that He's really lucky to have us on our team, on His team. Okay, we don't need to do that. It's when we just kind of lose all those facades and we get honest with God and say, I'm helpless and I need your help. The good news is that we can say that prayer of despair anytime we need to, any place. We can be completely honest with God about everything we're going through. We can say, God, I'm afraid. This is too big for me to handle. And you can tell Him everything you're going through. There's an important thing about this transparency thing. You really can't do it unless you're in God's presence. I mean, how do you talk to somebody if you're not in their presence, right? Now, even on the telephone, you're kind of in somebody's presence, the voice presence. You've got to be with God. So you've got to spend time in His presence. The more time you spend with Him, the closer you get, the more power you're involved in because it's His power. Here's Jehovah's prayer of despair. Verse 9. Whenever we're faced with any calamity, that's what Christine just read, such as war, plague, famine, we can come and stand in your presence. We can cry out for you to save us, and you'll hear us and rescue us. So seeking God begins with spending time in His presence, pouring out your heart openly and honestly. So if the phrase, here comes trouble, describes your life, take the cue from Jehoshaphat and begin by being transparent before Him. The second thing to seeking God involves the giving of yourself. Giving yourself away. And that involves some level of sacrifice. There's got to be some sacrifice there, some give. I mean, what kind of relationship does anybody have if they never give? So it just works this way. In a business setting, you might call it a demonstration of good faith. You've heard that before? It's our way of saying, God, we're serious about this. We really mean it. We'll do our part, as small as it is, and we'll allow you to do your part, as huge as it can be. When Jehoshaphat began to seek the Lord, he invited the whole nation, all the people of Judah, to seek God with him. Verse 3 and 4. He also ordered everyone in Judah to begin fasting. So people from all over the towns of Judah came to Jerusalem to seek the Lord's help. If you know me, you know this is a true statement. There's no better way for me to show that I'm serious about something than skipping a meal. I love to eat. I love to eat. I'm sure if I skip a meal because I'm fasting, it makes the headlines in heaven. I'm sure it does. They're all going, wow, David must be serious about this when he's not eating. Well, joking aside, there's something about fasting that pleases God. There's something that gets His attention and gets Him moving toward us. If you want to get serious about seeking God, consider fasting. Consider it. Not pushing you in that direction, just asking you to consider it. Now, there's a number of ways you can do this. I don't want to go into a sermon on fasting, but you can abstain from all foods for a meal or a day or 2 days or however long. You can maybe take your favorite foods away. Pizza and ice cream. Maybe don't eat those for a while. Maybe it doesn't even have to be food. TV, video games. Maybe it's the internet. Maybe it's Facebook. Okay? The point is, you're just kind of making room for God by taking something out of your life that you enjoy, that's pleasure to you. I read about this guy right after 9/11. This was a school teacher. His name is Gary Weddle. He said he would fast. He would fast until Osama bin Laden was captured. Okay, and he wasn't joking. He went 10 years, never shaved at all. His beard got down to about his waist. I should have got that picture of him and put him up there. Now, I don't know if his decision had anything to do with spiritual motivation. I don't know that. But I do know that he was serious about his commitment. He did it. Now, can you imagine if we brought that level of commitment to our efforts in seeking God? I'm not suggesting that you grow a beard, especially you ladies. Okay? But imagine what would happen if you just said, God, I need you so much in my life, I'm willing to give up something that's pleasurable, something that's comfortable, and just go after you so I can experience more of you. Just for a meal or for an internet session, whatever. Imagine what it would be like. Seeking God involves giving of yourself. That's just one example, fasting. But just imagine what could happen if you said, God, I need you so much. This is what I'm going to do. So that's the second thing. Seeking God involves giving yourself. The third thing, seeking God involves listening. Listening. In this story, we see that after the people of Judah poured out their hearts to God, after they prayed and fasted, then God began to speak to them. Whoa. I think I just heard somebody talking about that today. God speaking. I'm trying to hear God, all this stuff. God began to speak. Look in verse 13. As all the people of Judah stood before the Lord with their little ones, wives, and children, the Spirit of the Lord came upon one of the men standing there. His name was Jehaziel. He said, listen, all you people of Judah and Jerusalem. Listen, King Jehoshaphat. This is what the Lord says. Do not be afraid. Don't be discouraged by this mighty army. For the battle is not yours, but God's. Now here's something you can count on. After a time of serious seeking God, I don't know how long it'll be, but after a time, eventually you'll hear, this is what the Lord says to you. You're going to hear it. Maybe it will come from words out of the Bible that you're reading. Maybe it'll come from a sermon you're hearing or a song you're listening to. Maybe it'll be words from a trusted friend. Or maybe it'll come out of this inner witness inside of you, a still small voice speaking to you. But there will come a time that you know that you know that you know that you know that God is speaking directly to you. You know it. That is, if you're listening. Where's Chris? There he is. I told Chris the other day that I can listen to a sermon and always hear God speaking. And he said, well, I wish that would happen to me. You must listen to a better preacher than I have to listen to every Sunday. No, I'm just kidding. He didn't really say that. But seriously, if you want to know the truth and if you're listening, God can speak to you through all kinds of situations. All kinds. He spoke through a donkey at one time. That's pretty weird. I can listen to preachers that I don't even agree with theologically on every point, or maybe even a lot of points, but I can listen to them, and it just seems like without fail, something's in there for me. Something that tells me to change, or something I need to know, something I need to do. It also happens every time I read the Bible. I mean, every time I open the Bible, it's like something is being said to me. A lot of people say, I try to read the Bible and I just don't get anything out of it. I cannot relate to that statement. I can't relate to it because every time I open the pages of the Bible, God is saying something. It's not because I'm so intelligent. It's not because I'm so spiritual. It's because over the years I've learned to just pay attention. Just pay attention. Every time I read the Bible, I start and continue to ask this question. The whole time I'm reading the Bible, I'm asking, God, what are you saying to me today? And He says something. I may not hear every time, but He's saying something.